Oh, Chaim David wanted his camera. I'll take a second, 1 second. We'll maybe stop that recording. Ready to go? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we're on the Ayin Vav, I think it is. And the subject is why the Kusim are questionable yichus. And it says that not only that the Jews should not marry the Kusim, but also they should not even intermarry amongst themselves. And at the end of the Gemara said yesterday that they were mamzer mixed in amongst them. Question: if there are two questions come up, if they're how they came in. So yesterday we ended up with Yesh Omrim because they're not became that they took a mitzvah. We can stop that again. That's about 6 lines down. Some say because they weren't fluent in the particulars of the mitzvahs, and therefore there'll be a problem about the yichus. It's coming to explain why there might be mamzerim over there. And the Gemara says, Man Yesh Omrim. Who is this Yesh Omrim that says we find that there's a problem with the kusim that they're not fluent in the intricacies of the mitzvahs? We find Rabbi Lezer says so. What is he talking about over there? Different subject altogether. Not about Kiddushin. The Tanya, matzahs kusim with teres ready moshe beidei chavosah b'Pesach. That kusim, if they made matzah for Pesach, you could assume that it's kosher, and also only that it's not chametz, also that they know the Shema. In general, it says that even if you have gotten nowadays things might be different, but in those days, bread was flour and water, matzah was flour and water, and you could assume that it's not going to be chametz, even if say kosher nachrim. But the question over there is if it's the made lishma. And here it says that kusim can be assumed that they made it lishma also. Rabbi Lezer also the fishen became with the mitzvahs. So here we have Rabbi Lezer says that they don't know the intricacies of the mitzvahs, the particulars, and therefore you are choshish that it was not lishma. That's what we're looking for. That Rabbi Lezer holds that they don't know the mitzvahs well. Rabbi Shem Gamliel alone called mitzvahs shechzik bar kusim. That if we do know that they did take on this particular mitzvah, so then they're medactic even more than Jews. If you don't know that they took on this mitzvah, so then you choshish that they don't know the mitzvah, they don't do it well. But if they did take it on, so then they are more particular, even more than Jews. So we wanted Rabbi Lezer. Rabbi Lezer says that kusim anapatim, but they took in mitzvahs, and therefore that somehow affects that it might be mamzerim. And the Gemara didn't explain it. How does mamzerim come in if they don't know how to do lishma for matzah? Is one thing. How does it come to mamzerim? So ela hecha hachi hacha. My aim became what is the not became over here as far as to do mamzerim. The fish and became Kiddushin, and they don't know the laws of marriage and divorce well. So if they don't know the laws of divorce, that's partial. They might make a divorce contract bill that wasn't kosher. So she thinks that she's divorced, so she'll remarry, and really she's not divorced. That's a big problem. They're going to be mamzerim because she's Eishasish, that's remarrying, and the kid will be in a mamzer. Torah's Kiddushin, Rashi explains that also they don't know the laws of Kiddushin well, and they might think that something was done and it's not Kiddushin, and really it is Kiddushin, and she's going to go ahead and marry thinking that she's not married, that she's not a married woman, and really she is. So both of these mistakes of not knowing Kiddushin well, not knowing Gittin well, might make mamzerim. So that's how the Gemara explained the problem that there are mamzerim that would be mixed in amongst the kusim because they don't know the laws of Kiddushin and Gittin well. Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Rav Baravua, Mamzer Mechoso, Mamzer Meishasach, Yisavu Bahan. You know why there's Mamzer mixed into the Kusim? Because they have Mamzerim that they had relations with. There was someone who had relations with a sister, someone had relations with a sister-in-law, Eishasach, and Mapasha Mamzerim. They not because they didn't know. Before we spoke about Shita, maybe that they thought that Yibam Lashok is mutter, or like more before that they don't know the laws well. But here, everybody knows that it's also type relations. Fresh pasuk, even if you read the pasuk, it says that Achoso and Eshasach is Chayve Koros and the Mamzerim. But and that's what happened. That's what happened. That they had such illicit marriages, and that's how they were relations, and that's how they got Mamzerim mixed into the Kusim. So stay away, because in the community of Kusim there are some Mamzerim mixed in. Why did they tell you the examples? They told you examples. It could have just said that Mamzerim is that they had illicit relations that caused Mamzerim. Why does it have to give examples for? He wanted to tell you that not only Chayv Mises Bezdin, not only something has a death penalty, even if it's just koris, it's not the death penalty here in the earthly court. Also, it's enough to make mamzer, which is how we hold. We pass like that. But nisni chada, why do you have to say two examples? It said two examples. It said achosa, and also said eshesach. It gave two examples that the sister having relations with a sister and having relations with a sister-in-law. Why does it have to two examples? The Gemara says, it's not telling you examples, it's telling you facts. That's what happened over there. Historically, that's what happened, that amongst the Kusim, there was an incident of having relations with a sister, and it produced a mamzer. There was also an incident of having relations with a sister-in-law, and it produced a mamzer. So he's not coming to tell you Allah, he's coming to tell you the story. And it actually happened historically that a guy mixed in a mamzer and a Kusim, and therefore the Chazal said, stay away from the Kusim, because there's mamzerim over there. As far as why they can't marry each other, also because they're mamzerim, they might be gayim, but no, that wouldn't be good. If they'd be gayim, then a gayer is allowed to marry a mamzeris.
Yeah, but they themselves, if the foundation is already pagum, they can't be a gayer. Or, I mean, they're already bechina of mamzer. How can then they become gayer?
No, they're not mamzer if they're goyim. Goyim are not mamzerim. It's talking about that they were already gerim, and then they had these relations and they produced mamzerim. Yeah, that could be ger. Also, if he is going to have relations that are chayvi krisis, the kid's going to be mamzer. We're not talking about that they were mamzerim before they became Jews. There's no such thing as a mamzer who's a goy. A goy is a goy. But what did he come to explain to us? Why they're achshash mamzerim? He's not talking. The Gemara is not talking about now. What's the original kasha the Gemara started with, that even if they are mamzerim, but the kusum shouldn't have a problem because a ger is allowed to marry mamzerim. That the Gemara is not referring to here. Now it's just coming to tell you why there are mamzerim mixed upon them. Is that good? That's what the Gemara is saying. And one more teretz, Rabbi Amar Eved b'shivcha nesavu b'hen. Nothing to do with mamzerim. That it got mixed into the community of the kusim, avodim and shvachos. So therefore, not all of them are Jews, even though they're gerim, but they're not Jews. Some of them are avodim, so therefore don't marry into them because achshash avodim. It comes out interesting that the Mishnah says that Edelin asfekos, Shtuki, Asufi, and Kusi. Till now, we understood the Pashpshat that they're also suffered mamzerim. All the Gemara still now tried to find why there might be mamzeris mixed in upon them, and the Gemara tried that the Gemara tried that mamzerim came into them. Mamish, they call him over there. They call him Kotzim over there. They came in mamzerim, or the top of the page that all kinds of pshatim why they are mamzerim. This pshat, he says that even though it says Elohen Asfekos, Shtuki, Asufi, and Kusi, the Shtuki and Asufi is because of mamzeris. But Kusi was because there was some of them amongst them. You don't know, they got mixed in. But you should know that some of them and Shvachos came in. And what? No, every is Jewish. Every Kanani, Shivcha Kanani, and therefore the Yichus is tainted Yichus over there because some of them are Avadim Shvachos. That's why you shouldn't marry into them. Why shouldn't they marry each other? Also because of the same reason, because Ger is also not allowed to marry every B'Shivcha. This would explain that they were allowed to intermarry also, because it also would make sense. Yes,
what would be worse? Mamzer, Safik Eved Shivcha. What would be a worse situation?
I don't know. A ger is also not allowed to marry. Ger is allowed to marry mamzer, so ger is not allowed to marry another b'shivcha. They're like chatzi goyim. You're right, but you're right that but they have mitzvahs kisha. They do milah and tefillah, and they have mitzvahs kisha, but it's not a full Jew.
And they have potential to become Jewish.
A ger also has a potential to become Jewish. If you're free there, but then if you does tefillah again, the same it becomes a gerus. When the Eved Meshuk becomes like a ger, and the goy also can become a ger.
No, I'm asking in terms of mamzer and Eved Meshuk. Mamzer can't become kosher.
Right.
Whereas a shif and Eved can become Jewish. Yes. It's in the potential.
The Gemara says Yisur Mishum Mai, Mishum Shivcha. It happens to be that Rashi says, or he means that Rabbi happens told that Eved Abba Bas Yisrael of Vlad Kasher. So that wasn't the concern. Even if there would have been Eved that got mixed in, but the child of the Eved, if he would have married the Kusim, which are Jewish or Gerim, so the child will be kosher. So that's not what the problem is. The problem means Shivcha. Even though Rabbi said Eved B'Shivcha, he really means the Shivcha is the problem. The Eved wouldn't have been the problem. There would have been Avadim around there, but the next generation would have already been kosher. If you hold Eved Abba Bas Yisrael of Vlad Kosher. So why that's why it's kasha Yisurim Mishum Shivcha Nisli Chada. The problem we're talking about is only the shivcha part, not the eved part. The shivcha, the kid's going to be an eved. So you're concerned about those, the women. So how come you said that the eved also got mixed in? The answer is again, he's just telling you the story that avodim mishpachas got in. You're right. The problem, the halachic problem, is only the shvachas that got mixed in, not the avodim. But he told you the story already. So that was the Gemara that spoke about kusim yesterday. We also said yesterday and today that was talking about kusim. The Mishnah says everyone knows without the Mishnah saying you're not allowed to marry into the kusim, and the reason is because there's suffix mamzerus or also a suffix avdos over here, avodim over there. So don't marry into them. The issue is also they shouldn't even intermarry. According to the last shot, it's simple because we told the kusim that even though you're a kusim, but there are some of other mixed upon you, so don't marry within yourself. Go find a kosher marriage. According to the other shot, the wider difficulty that if they're gerim, so then there still should not be a problem to intermarry because Eva's not a marrying ger. And that was a Gemara yesterday with different possibilities that there were mamzerim mixed in, and also the question was if they were Jews mixed in. That was the main thrust of the Gemara. That besides being gerim, the Gemara goes into the subject if they were good gerus or not. Are they considered goyim or are they considered Jews gerim? And besides that, there also were mamzerim that got mixed in. How did it happen? That was the Gemara's question. How did it happen? Either they brought a mamzerim or Yivam al-Shuk. Different questions how mamzerim got in. Jewish mamzerim. So that's why, and Jews also. Jews got in. Besides, and some Jews got in mixed in also. So therefore, they shouldn't intermarry because you don't know if you're a Jew and they're a guy. So that's also a reason not to intermarry within the kusim themselves. Kusim nowadays. So my Chavrusa, Rav Pinchas, updated me a little bit about the kusim nowadays in the Shamronim. There are still a kutza of Shamronim that are the descendants of these kusim, and till recently there were big communities of them. Nowadays there's only a few hundred. I forgot what he said exactly, and they're losing their identity already. But till recently, and he said, we have to ask him again to tell the details, that there were many, thousands, and during the times of the Byzantine era was when the Goyim, there were big massacres against them. So most of them got killed out. The Kusim, the Shamronim. They still have a Kutza of Shamronim today. They got killed out. So they were, but there were many. There were many Shamronim, what they call Shamronim. The Gemara calls them Kusim. Okay. Next.
I'm saying they're not so many because they get killed out.
That's historically. Historically, maybe that's the reason why there are not so many. I would have thought there always were very few, but he said that no, there were very, very many. And the Gemara also talks about the Kusim in the times of the Mishnayos and the Gemara. But what they married, so he said that they married within. That's he's just telling me that they were still now they're very marked only to marry within themselves. They only married within themselves, which kept it away from the Jewish,
which is a good thing.
Which was good, and also didn't marry Goyim either. That's interesting. But now they started marrying Goyim. They shouldn't marry each other. He's saying shouldn't marry because there are some.
But it's good that they didn't marry.
But it's bad that they didn't get married into the Jews because then it would make problems for the Jew for the Yichus, and they started marrying Goyim now. He said very recently, within the past 10 years, some of them started marrying Goyim, and there's a big focus amongst the Shemonim themselves.
Yeah.
Everybody's invited to Pinchas I just don't want the Shemonim a little bit. The Shemonim. And I said a little bit of what I remember that you said. The updated application of this Mishnah, of the Mishnah about Kusim. I just mentioned that you said that they were makbid till now to marry within. And that's, so Levi Yaakov says, and that's what the Mishnah says, don't. That Evelazar, Kusi shouldn't marry Kusis. But
Better they do that than
okay. New Mishnah. No say Isha Kahanas. Here it talks about being bodek. When a person marries, to check the yichus of the woman, the kala. And the Gemara is going to say this is Rav Meir. The whole Mishnah is going to be Rav Meir. We're not going to argue, and you could assume that she's kosher. There is everyone knows that with the Raisa, you don't have to check. There's a chazaka, Robin chazaka, you could assume that everyone's kosher. But Rav Meir says with Rabbanan, you should check it out. And the Mishnah is going to say a difference between a kohenes over here and a Levi of the Israelis. How much do you have to check? All this Mishnah is going to be Rav Meir. And let's say one sheet at least, the Rambam, he says that the whole issue is just talking about a Kohen. a Kohen wants to get married. It doesn't say. It says Anosi Isha. Someone marries a woman. So the Rambam says that it's talking about a Kohen's getting married, and by Kohen there are marked more that he should check out who he's marrying. So he has to check out the yichus of the Kala in order to make sure that she's kosher lineage. They're really looking maybe for Psula Kahuna, but also they look for Psula Yichus already also. Once they're looking for Psula Kahuna, Halala, Grusha, okay, Grusha could find out about her herself, not about the mothers. But Isha, Yishamat, shouldn't be a Halala. Shouldn't have been anybody that married into the family that would have passed the Kuna and make her into a Halala. So they have to check a couple of generations back. There are other shittas, but let's say that's the Pashup Shat, that's talking about a Kohen's getting married, and Rav Meir holds that with Rabbanan, he has to check the woman, and there's going to be checking the Kohenes, if she's a Bas Kohen, and the Levi Israelis, we have to check even more. Because the Kohanim were more makir on the Yichus, so we're going to check more if she's not a Kohenes, she's a Bas Levi, Bas Yisrael, we're going to check more. So here it starts. Anosi Isha Kohenes, Sarach Livdach Achre Arba Imahos. Shehen Shmona. It's Arba Imahos that are really 8. So I have a little chart over here. We haven't had a chart in a long time. So try to get it on over here. Here's the chart. Okay. So if we remember, try to get rid of this thing over here. I'm not sure what this thing is here, but make it a little smaller. Can I make it smaller? How do I get rid of this thing? I don't know. How do I make this thing smaller?
Is it bothering the?
I just okay, went away. Okay, so the siman, how do you read it? The code, or is that the circle is a man, and the circle with some kind of head covering is a woman. Sheitel or techel, either anyone. So this is the girl. This is the collar here on the bottom. So you have to check 4 mothers, but the 4 mothers is really going to be. The ones that are, I just figured out the code over here, that the ones that are shaded are the 4. The first generation of 4. How do you get that? So her mother, that's her mother, right? And there's going to be another one.
And the mother of the
mother of the father, grandfather's, her mother's father's mother.
Mm-hmm. That's 2 already.
And then there's also the father's mother, and the father and the father's father's mother. Those are 4. And it says the 4 is Shein Shmona, because you can do 1 generation up. For each of these 4 women, you do 1 generation more. So that means her mother is her mother's mother, and her.
No, but that's not a black one there.
Right, because I went 4. I did 4.
Oh, I see.
The Mishnah says there are 4. So the Shmon is going to mean each one's going to add on the mother another generation up. So
mother.
Right. Why do you do that? I'm not sure. Maybe I got the wrong shot. But the Mishnah says there are 4. So the 4 is going to be her mother, her grandfather's mother, her mother's father's mother. Those are 2. And then her father's mother and her grandfather's mother. Those are 4. And then you add on, change Shmona, 1 generation more. So you go up 1 generation more for each one. Here's 1. And here's the black line is going to be the change Shmona. What? Is the higher generation. And here on this is the great grandmother. Is that true? Mother, grandfather.
Yeah. Grandmother.
So then also 1 generation up. That's another one. And here and the grandfather mother generation. So we have Abba change money.
I mean, if you count all those numbers, it's going to be 8.
You have the 4 shaded ones plus 1 generation up is 1 above, and you get to this solid line. The solid line, the mission is over. The mission is over by the solid line. You see on top of that a broken line. Is anything up and above that? That's going to be already. That's going to be the Gemara. But the Mishnah only ends by the solid line. Okay. But
The Kohenes, you mean? Well, we learned till now.
till now we learned. You're right. All right. Right. That's going to be in the Mishnah also. I made a mistake. Okay. The Gemara continues. The Mishnah continues. Anos Isha Kohenes will say a Kohen that's marrying a Bas Kohen, he has to check after 4 mothers that are really 8. Why is that? Ima, her mother, the Aim Ima, her mother's mother, the Aim Avia Ima, and her father's mother's mother. I got it wrong. No, her mother's father's mother. Aim Avi Ima, the mother of the father of the mother. Ve'ima. Each one has a ve'ima. Ima, ve'em ima. Her mother and her mother's mother. Ema ve'ima, ve'ima. Also, can I do the chart at the same time? I forgot if I could do that. I forgot how I did that. I used to do it. Ema ve'ima, ve'ima.
Her grandmother, father's side.
Ema vi. This is on her mother's side still. Ema ve'ima means her mother's father's mother.
We start from the bottom. Ima.
Ima, Avi-Ima, Ema Avi-Ima. This is her mother. Her mother's father is Avi-Ima, and her mother's father's mother. So we would call that a great grandmother. Vi-Ima, and one more up.
Even 5 generations. No?
Fine. But we're talking numbers. So then also Ema Viha, Vi-Ima. The father's mother and her mother, and Ema Via the Ima. The father's mother and her mother. It's good. Back on the chart again. Ima, the Ima. According to I think that all the Imas is the next generation. That's why. But when you talk about each one has a double.
So it works both ways on her mother's side and on the father's side.
Right.
Yeah.
So her mother, Ima, Ima. Ema via me, Ema vi Ima, Ima. Ema via Ima. Ema via Ima. Good.
What's interesting is we're only looking at the mothers. We're not actually checking the male, the father.
Right, I think Mars gonna ask the question.
We're not asking.
Why do we only check out the mothers? Why don't we check out the fathers? Maybe the fathers, maybe the men of you also have psulim over
Because
here.
we worry about Yiddishkeit. I mean, being Jewish. We're worried about them being bona fide Jews.
So what's your answer?
I don't know.
And also, we're looking for kahuna. Also, we're looking. The issue is the Kohen, so we're looking for kahuna also. A Kohen's marrying a Kohenes, so we want to check out this Kohenes. How good is her yichus? So you have to check the 8 generations. Only the women. You don't check the men. Moses asked the kasha. Check the men also. The via of Yisrael is mosifin alei no dachas. If the woman you marry, the Kohen's marrying not a Bas Kohen, so the Kohen were more marked on the yichus, so we could check a little bit less. But the Bas Levi, Bas Yisrael, that they're not so marked on the yichus as the Kohenim, mosifin alei no dachas. You have to check one more generation up. I said one more generation. Let's see this over here. One more generation means you go now to the, what do you call that? The dotted line. So each one you did, you go up one more. So if this woman would be a Leviah, you straight this, so then you would go everything you did plus one more above the solid line, and you get each one has one more generation. So it'll be
Why did you have
the dotted lines. What the Mishnah says by Leviah of Yisrael. If this woman is not a Bas Kohen, a Bas Levi or Bas Yisrael, so you have to check one more generation up, and that's what dotted line did for you.
I don't understand. The Levi is more machmir than Cohen.
Yes, because they're not more machmir means that we are more scared that the yichus is not good because they weren't so careful. The families of Kahuna were more machmir on the yichus, but the families of Israelis were not as machmir. Nothing about a Levi, it's just not a Kohen. If they're Kohen, so then you could assume that it's better than if it was a Bas Levi, Bas Yisrael. So therefore you have to check one more generation and you get to the dotted line. On each one, it's one above the solid line. So one more generation of each one. So you have four more mothers. And we continue over here. Period. Okay, that's the law of being bodek. We said that this is Rabbanan, but the Raisa, you can assume everything is good. And Rabbanan to argue on a married, they're going to say everything is good, but Rameir says, but you have to be machmir, and they talk about a Kohen who's getting married, and we're makbid on a Kohenes, a little bit less than on the Viv Israelis, because they're pretty good in their families. You check age 8, what do you do? Four mothers plus their mothers, and the Viv Israelis plus their mothers, one more level up.
On your chart, you have the maternal grandmother, the two outside lines, maternal grandmother and maternal grandfather. Why do you have an extra one at the top? You don't need that.
I'm not following.
You have dotted lines, and then you put another one on top of the dotted.
Yeah, we didn't get, and so far the mission doesn't have, right, and each one of them, there's the dotted line. So far we just got to the dotted line. Just got to the dotted line. And not only on the two outside ones, the middle ones also have above the dotted line. And that's not that, you're right. And in the Mishnah,
wrote above the dotted line.
I went above the dotted line 4 times. Not only the two outside ones. All 4 cases have above the dotted line, and that's going to be the Gemara.
That's Gemara. We haven't done
We didn't
that.
done it.
Well,
done it
4
yet.
times is above the dotted line.
I'm assuming that's a Kohen who wants to make it, right?
That's what he said. The Rambam says a Kohen. There's other pshatim, but the Rambam says only talk about a Kohen. Now it gets easier. If you get in your search, you get to somebody who was serving on the Mizbeach, a Kohen was serving on the Mizbeach, you don't have to check anymore. It means, let's say the father was served on the Mizbeach, you don't have to go to check his mother or anything else. Once you hit somebody who served on the Mizbeach, you don't have to check further, because you could assume that checked that out already, because anybody that served on the Mizbeach, the best that already Sanhedrin checked out that Yichus is good. Also, when a duchen would be for the Levium sang on the duchen. Also, they wouldn't let go on the duchen only if he was checked out. If you hit a Levi, who served on the Mizbeach Hamikdash in the duchen, that's the platform where the Levium would sing. So then you don't have to go further. Also, Sanhedrin, if you get somebody that served on the Sanhedrin, also you don't have to check further. He was checked out already. They didn't let on the Mizbeach, on the duchen on Sanhedrin, somebody was not checked out to know that he has a kosher yichus. Also, I don't know why it changes the terminology.
It's a big Kiddush, no? Because we have to have a yichus to be
So,
Gabbai Tzedakah.
so first, okay, let's say the Mishnah. The Mishnah says anybody that his fathers were muhsak. I don't know what the lashon is exactly, but they were shotrei rabbim. Rashi says, Apir Gemara, that shotrei rabbim means dayanim, that they were judges, even though not Sanhedrin. Small, but they dinim also. You don't have to check them, and we're going to see the Gemara. And like Avrohom is asking, a Gabbai Tzedakah, what's the Gabbai Tzedakah has to be miyuchas? What's the problem? So Gemara is going to speak about it. How come a Gabbai Tzedakah you can assume that he's kosher, and you don't have to check further?
But he was not checked. The Gabbai Tzedakah was not checked.
That's the kasha. That's the kasha. How
Right.
That's the kasha.
That's
That-
why the Gemara Mishnah changes the lashon.
Terminology is different because there's a difference between the Mizbeach Olamalo.
But it could say, "Ain't Bodkin minat Gabbai Tzedakah." No, it wouldn't be good to say that. All it says is you don't have to check further. It doesn't say you have to check them out. It doesn't say here you have to check out the Mizbeach either. It just says we will say the reason is because the Mizbeach was already checked out. Duchan Sanhedrin, and he could have said Gabbai Tzedakah also. You don't have to check. Ain't Bodkin minat Gabbai Tzedakah Olamalo. I think.
By the way, it's just 2 things you could be dying from the Mishnah. If you got a Leah Kohen or Leah Levi, doesn't count. It's not a Uriah. And Birkus Kohen also.
Okay, it doesn't say minat. Okay, Duchan doesn't mean. That's not enough of a raya. What?
It doesn't work.
Yeah, just getting an aliyah, because in order to give an aliyah, what?
But that's just important to point out the mission. Maybe the Duchan over here doesn't mean.
Doesn't mean that he has a brichas kohanim. It means the Levi on the duchen, and the brichas kohanim is not arrived, because when someone's do brichas kohanim, he doesn't ask any questions. He just.
Oh, there was a guy who used to go up. He wasn't a Kohen.
I know 2 guys like that.
I don't know one. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Yisra is. It says the Yisra to get the.
One guy went to Duchen, the other one only insisted on getting married. Oh, well, Leah. Yeah, one guy went up to Duchen and got an Leah, and the other one only got insisted all the time.
Did he consider he was a big fan of
I don't know.
Okay.
Obviously.
So this Mishnah. So what we have already, we can talk about. Maybe we can. And Duchan over here that also is a raya, and you have Sanhedrin. And then also says Shotri Arabim, and also says Gabbai Stucco also, which we don't understand yet. And the Biosium, Af Mishal Yachostam, the aid, somebody got to take out the word aid. Also, somebody, the old courts on Sipori. So the Gemara is going to talk about that they were makbid over there. They were makbid not to sign somebody who was not miyuchas. They had this
Shigon? Not so much.
peda, whatever. I don't know. But so it comes out that even something which is not bad, and not halachically necessary, but the Gemara said they were makbid, so they were makbid. Then it's good enough of a proof. Which somebody that's signed in, I guess, in the army. It's the Rati Shal Melech. Rashi says, does Rashi say? The Gemara is going to say that it means the army. Is there any Rashi over here? The Gemara Rashi doesn't tell us. The Gemara is going to say that it means the army. I think Gemara is going to say, what does the army have to do with the yichus? You take somebody that's strong. Does it have to be a yichus? So that's the Mishnah. So at the beginning of the Mishnah told us the Ekronot that you have to make bedika for Kohen who's getting married. 4 generations, 8 generations, 4 women, 8 women, maybe even 12 women, maybe even 12 women, if it's a Levi of the Israelis. Okay, the Gemara starts. This is Chaim Dav's question. How come we only check out the women? How come we don't check out men? Maybe the men also have a psul. The answer is Nashi. The women, when they fight, the Gemara is going to say that you could also, there's something about the fact that there was no call heard, there was no rumor heard about them. That's also proof. That's the proof we're looking for. Really, that's what we're looking for. When you both all of these generations, what are you both for? You don't have to. What could you do? What you're supposed to do is to check if there was any rumors about them. You go back one generation, another generation. Translation: women that when they fight with each other, they fight about arayas, which means that if someone wants to, 2 women are in a fight, and one of them wants to insult the other one, they're going to call her a zona or something like that, because that's the way they get them. That's the way they fight. So they don't talk about that your yichus is not good. That's not the way women fight. They fight about arayas. They don't fight about yichus. So there's no way to know just because it's quiet. We didn't hear anything about them. It's not just a proof, because maybe it faded out. There was a rumor once upon a time, but we didn't hear about it lately because even if they have fights, it doesn't come to the front. In contrast, this is really Gemara's answer. Gavri the chiminsu badi adadi b'yochsenu the minsu and misa dikam milsa is like men when they fight and they want to insult each other, they say that your yichus is not good. You're ben grusha ben chalutza, you're ben chalala ben zona. So then we don't have to go finding out if there's a rumor, because the rumor will still be in full. It was assuming people fight.
Yeah, but I want to take a guy who's afraid they're going to scream at him that you have bad yichus. He's not going to fight.
Everybody fights. That's the assumption is everybody gets into a fight once in a while. It's hard not to get into a fight. Everybody has a fight with somebody.
That type of fight that they're going to scream. Do you ever get into a fight with someone screaming you and say you're not miyuchas?
Because he has good yichus. So he has busha and he's doesn't get into fights.
Yeah,
That's bad yichus. They don't have busha and they get into fights.
So the Gemara's answer is you don't have to check the men, because men are already baduk. They're already that's self inspected, because by the fact that there's no noise about them, that shows already that they what?
There's what about them?
They're already automatically checked out, because the fact that it's quiet about him, that means that there's no rumors for generations already. Even if you don't actively go and find out about this, the grandfather, did he any rumor about him? If there would have been news about the grandfather, we still would have heard about it, because the men, whenever it comes to fight, they choke up all of that, they cough up all of the bad yichus about him. The fact that it's my man, there's no rumor known today, that's enough reason that we could assume that there's no rumors for the generations earlier. But by women, the fact that we don't know about it, it could be that it faded, quieted down, because the women don't cough it up whenever they get into fights. They have other things to cough up. So that's what
Kala doesn't mean that there's not anything to worry about.
No, it means there's no rumor. It doesn't make noise. There's no rumor about it. That's why, by women, we have to go and investigate. Has there been any rumors about a grandmother? Did they talk about the grandmother? Even if they talk about the grandmother, it could have been that it quieted down over the years, and therefore we don't know about it. So go investigate. Find out if there was any noise about the grandmother. But by the men, you don't find out about the grandfather, because if it would have been noise about the grandfather, would have still presently been news. It still would have been a call. So that was the Gemara's question. That's the Gemara's answer. How come by men you don't check? Because the men, you could assume if there was any noise, there still would be noise when they fight. By the women, there might have been noise, and now there's no noise.
This doesn't last that much one by one.
But we said you have to check the father's mother.
The mothers, yes, right.
Why?
Right, so that's the kasha. That's the kasha we had, and I'm not sure the answer. So we still didn't get it. That if by the minute it comes out, so you should check any mothers above a man. Well, let's say the grandfather. If his mother would have been problems, they would have heard about it by the grandfather already, and it still would have been going on by all the men. So why is that not good enough that, and you never have to check over a man? Once you get to a
I
man,
understand.
what?
The grandmother from the father, when she got married to the grandfather,
Again,
the grandma on the right-hand side,
right hand side.
the grandmother and the grandfather. Nope, you went up too high. They're their grandparents.
Across
The
the way from
father and
each
the
other.
mother. So if there's a problem with her, what's the point?
No, the question I'm asking now?
Yeah.
That if you get to him, why don't you check out this man? Why don't you check out this man?
Because everything's quiet and we assume that it means if there was a problem, we would hear it.
Right, so this is asking, so then don't check her out either anymore. Don't check out her, because if there would have been any noise around there, then it would have been about him. They would have made noise. If the one says you don't have to check out the men because
Oh, what about
it's
it?
automatically checked out because
Yeah,
it's
but
quiet.
rather-
So don't check out the woman either because it would have come out by the men.
No, but we worried about the actions of the father. No, that's
Doesn't help with finding out.
The yichus of the father.
Oh, yichus.
And the answer going to be that
Nothing to do with
the
the
woman
mamzer,
here it
so-
quieted down already. So then they didn't hear it by the men anymore.
So
Is that a
Gemara's
good
kasha
answer?
is why are you choishish on the kala, not on the chosan?
No, that's not
Now
that's
the-
that's next Gemara's kasha. So far, the Gemara's kasha is on the one that you're checking, you're only checking out the mothers, you're not checking out the fathers. Right? The next kasha is going to be about the chosan. But here the kasha is check out the fathers also. The answer is the fathers are already pre-inspected because if there'd be noise,
But the mothers could have quieted down.
but the mother's quieted down. So therefore, you don't check him, you don't check him. That
I see. So
here,
you're
the women, it would have been quieted down. So
So I don't understand. I understand on the father's side, those two mothers,
on the
Because we-
father's side,
the ones that we're gonna check, those two that we're gonna check.
yes,
Because they're the first two women and maybe it quieted down. But on the mother's side, you're checking out her mother. Why are you going to the great grandmother? Yeah, why her? Already you're checking the one down below, so why would you have to check up her?
what's the kasha?
You don't need to
Here, it
check
might
her
have
because there's a
gotten
problem with
quieted
the
down.
mother herself.
Again, this might have been a rumor about her and it got quieted down. So check it out. Go
Yeah, but
find it.
you're already checking the mother.
So what?
Oh, you have to go, why do you have to go back 4 generations?
Well, I think that's the.
Oh, in other
when
words, you
say
check the mother and
what do you
everything's
check?
okay,
You check
but
if the
still maybe something happened earlier.
right
Okay.
So I think, when you're checking, what are you checking?
that there was
You
no
check all the
noise.
yichus all the way up.
What do you check? What do you check all
If
the
you
way
would
up?
be checking, let's say when you check the mother, you would check all the yichus all the way up. So
No.
you already checked all the yichus.
No, right. You're
So-
checking that there was no noise in their times. There was no noise. No, never came out a noise about them. Never came out a rumor about them. That's what check by each one. So the question is, why I check the men? Because the men, there is no noise. You know, there's no noise because if there would have been noise, we would have known about it now.
Okay. But then why not the mother's mother?
The
Why didn't you check her
mothers,
too?
we do.
It's not black.
The black is only to get the number 4. Maybe I should erase the blacking. You're checking all of these women. At the end of the story, you're gonna check everybody. The reason why except for the men you don't check. The reason I didn't, again, I'm sorry for shading
that's
it. No,
okay.
it's confusing.
Because it
But
said
I wanted
4,
to-
which are.
right, so I
you
wanted
just
to show, what are the
show us
4? What are the
but it
4?
Doesn't mean you don't check the others.
Right,
We're
you check
checking-
4 plus their mothers, plus another generation. That's how the Mishnah presents it. The truth is, when I looked at this chart that I had in my notes, I didn't understand I couldn't make out what are these shaded areas. Then I figured it out what I meant. I meant to write what are the 4. These are the 4, Ve'ima, and one more generation. And then and it says by Levi Israel is one more generation above each one of these 4. That's the chachma of
So
the.
I don't see 8.
You don't see 8.
No, show me the 8.
1 and her mother, 2 and her mother, 3 and her mother, 4 and her mother.
all the fours and
Black
the,
lines.
Right, the black line is the top end of the Kohenes. If she Levi of Israel, she go till the dotted line, which would be another generation up, one more generation in. Okay,
if she's an Israelite, why more?
because the Kohanim are more makbid on their
Oh,
yichus,
oh,
and therefore
Even
it's
though they're
enough
women,
for.
women generally
Yeah,
say
the families are makbid on their
Family
yichus,
more.
the people are makbid on yichus. That's what I think somebody says. It answers the question. We're okay with this. That I think that the fact that something's quiet doesn't mean that there wasn't noise before. You check out the man, everything's quiet.
When you're making an ear on him, what are you saying? That his parents are not good, right? מה העיר שיוצא עליו? כשאנחנו אומרים, no, when we say that there's going to be noise about him, what's the noise going to be? That something was wrong with his parents, grandparents. So that's the noise. So if we say there was no noise, if that guy, Mr. Father, if Bianco, he would have got into a fight with someone. So what would they be ma'ar about it? They would say,
He's a challah.
and in other words, his mother or his father.
There was a
Something's
drum.
wrong.
Yeah, something's
So
wrong.
that's checking out the mother and the father, no?
But
That's the noise.
there might have been noise about the mother that got forgotten at the time. There might have been noise about the mother. If you don't check it out, there might have been noise in the mother's time. It got forgotten.
So that's why there's no.
So
noise
we're
in the
never,
hill.
Also, can the Cohen's actions make him halal without an issue of his parents? If he's with, let's say, a goya or something? There's words
No, it's a nice point, but I think not. That the Kohen doesn't become puzzle. We would think yes, he's the first one to become puzzle, but he doesn't. He has to get rid of the grusha zona halal, then he can go back to work. The woman that he had relations with, he puzzled her, and she's out. She's a halala, but he doesn't become puzzle. His children become puzzle, and he doesn't become puzzle.
even if he's still, let's say, married to her?
We don't let him do avoda while he's married to her. We say you can't
Okay.
do avoda until you get rid of her, but it doesn't make him puzzle inherently, which is a
Wow.
chiddush.
Okay.
He made all of his descendants, everyone's a halalim from now on, all the boys, but he himself doesn't become puzzle. I don't understand, but it answers more or less the.
Yeah, I think I do.
I don't think I understand it so well, but I think, okay, that was the first kasha. How can we check the man, not the women? Because the men talk about it, and if it's quiet, if you didn't hear about it, there's a right that it's quiet. By the women, you have to try to investigate. Next question. How come it only says that the man checks out the woman? Why doesn't the woman check out the man about his mothers?
What's the day?
Him,
Him.
the chassan. Means
He
this
doesn't-
this list all is a kala. She's a
because
kala.
she's not chayiv avodah.
The question isn't about Kohen over. The question is if there's a kosher. Is he a kosher yichus? Is he a kosher Kohen?
But the reason we're in this so he can serve in the basement.
We're not talking about serving as a mitzvah. We're talking about a Kohen getting married to Kohen getting married. How about a Kenneth gets married? How come she's not married to see who she's marrying?
Is there anybody she's not allowed to marry?
That's the Gemara's answer.
What?
The short answer that there's no problem if the Kohen is not kosher. She's allowed to marry him. That's the Gemara's answer. That there is no issur on the Kohen to marry anybody. All these surim is the Kohen not marry a. How does it supposed to go? Grusha, Loika, how does it go over there? I always forget the beginning of the pasuk.
You said it yesterday.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We like the pictures, yeah. Everyone's looking at the other way.
Let's make a simon for this one.
He shows another
Isha.
halal like,
Okay, the first word of the pasuk is Isha. He shows another chalabah like Isha grusha meisha like a Kohen may not marry Zona, grusha, and chalala. A Kohenes may marry everybody, a chalal. No restrictions. She has no restrictions. She's allowed to marry.
he said even yeah, even
A
again.
Kohen's going to marry a ger. There's no, ger is a choice either way. So that's the answer. There is no restriction. That was the second. So, no shame, shame is right. But the Rabbi said a brisa that said you check 4 others, that really comes out to be 12. So we have that. That's very nice. You have 4, the 4 shaded one, plus 2 generations up. A Kohenes is 1 generation up each one. That Arba Shem Shmona, and if it's a Levi of Israelis, it's 1 more generation up. You get till the line, you'll get Shtemis 4, and each one gets 2 generations up for Levi of Israelis. So that makes sense. But the brisa continues. It says in another brisa And the Brisa, that was so, yeah, it was also Brisa. This Brisa says that you do 4 women, and it comes out to be 16. So that doesn't make sense. Where do you get 16? His Brisa could be explained. His Brisa is talking about a Bas Yisrael. Check one more generation up, so you get 12. Elamas needs to name a pliga, but the Brisa seems to argue. It says that you go 16, you get 16. The answer is low. My od achas zug achas. He learns when it says in the Brisa on the Mishnah. It says the Mishnah by the Israelis, you do one more. The line is for the Kohen, the Kohenes, right? So he did 4 months plus 1. Then it says in the Mishnah for Basle by Israel, you do 1 more. What does 1 more mean? So we look at it means 1 more generation. 1 more generation till the dotted line. 1 more generation till the dotted line. 1 more generation till the dotted line. But he says no, it means another pair. Why does it mean another pair? Because till now you did 2 mothers. Each one had 2. We had the pairs. We had 4 pairs already now, right? Grandmother. The what is this? The great grandmother plus 1. Etc. The grandmother plus 1. We had groups of 2. So far we had 2, right? Each one is going to be 2. Some kind of maybe something like that. Here we had what do we have? Here we had 2. Right? Here we had 2. I got it right? Here we had 2. And here we had 2. So now when we say by the Levi of Yisraelis, you do 1 more, it doesn't mean 1 more generation. It means 1 more group. Whatever you did tell me, you had a each one was 2. So the Levi of Yisraelis, you do another time that. So you get to get above the dot. That's how you get. Now we finally got to above the dotted line. And that's the Brisa holds that you don't do just 1 more generation for the Levi of Yisraelis, you do 2 more generations for the Levi of Yisraelis. So altogether you get 16. Is that nice?
Why do you want the extra 2? Why do you need 1 plus?
The question is how much they mechayiv. That's the question what the words mean. How much were they mechayiv to be bodik more? It's good. New Gemara. What's happening here? Oh, the lines still stay. The lines stay. What was my eraser? Does it give me an eraser? Oh, here's the eraser. I hope so. What is happening? This I have to get rid of this one.
Don't you have a thing that
Okay, back to normal? Okay. Yeah, okay.
What's it called?
The rubber got dried out.
What can I do here?
It doesn't affect
On your left.
anything.
It's okay.
It's called undo.
Okay.
You do undo.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Okay. Everything's good? Clean that. Okay. Good tomorrow. Have you done? I'm a vida Rav. Zu de Rav Meir. Chacham Momrim. Kol mishpachos becheskas miyuchasas. Cheskas ksheros. I know those. Everything we did, the whole mission, everything we did, 4, 8, 12, 16, everything is only Rav Meir talking. But the Chachamim say everything's fine. They don't have to do any kind of bedika. Any. One Rav Chacham Bar Goy Amarav. Mishnah Seder Kishakori Allah Ira.
What's the other ratio? Amarav?
Amarav.
Amarav.
Amarav Amarav.
Oh.
That's Rav Meir talking, the Mishnah. But the Chachamim say you don't have to check anything. Everything's b'cheskas miyuchasas. Any. Rav Chacham Bar Goy said in the name of Rav. Rav. This is Rav. This is Rav. Mishnah Seder Kishakori Allah Ira. He seems to want to say that the Mishnah is also according to the Chachamim, and if there was some kind of a era, some kind of a rumor that there is a problem, that this Kali wants to marry, somebody says that there's a problem. Question: how does the era exactly? How does it work? But if there was some kind of a noise that was made about the Kala, so you do have to check, even according to Rabbanan. So how come he said in the first version that it's the Mishnah is only Rav Meir? In the other version, Rav said, somebody quoted Rav saying that Chachamim also agree when there's an era. The answer is You're right. There were 2 pshatim said the name of Rav. Rav Yudah said it's going according to Rav Meir and nothing to do about an era. And the Chachamim and another Rav said it's going according to the Chachamim if there was an era. So it comes out that the Chachamim also agreed that all these lachas that we learned, it is important to remember even according to the Chachamim, but it's only relevant when there was some kind of a noise about them, a protest. Ika the Ami. Others have a different version of the one we just mentioned. which is very similar. So far, it's the same word for word. That Rav said, our mission is only Rav Meir. Chachamim say that you don't have to check anything. That he says the same halacha, that even according to Rabbanan, they also ask him that you have to check if there was some kind of a protest against this woman. What's the difference between the two versions?
That's not in the Mishnah. The
That
first
is
one
not-
learned that that's the Pshat
That's
in
not
the
the
Mishnah.
Mishnah. And he's saying it's not from Mishnah is or Meir. And the Chachamim say you don't have to check. But he's just telling you information. If there was an error, they also would agree. So it's a very technical thing if they said a Pshat to the Mishnah or not. What comes out? According to Meir, you always have to check. Or the Kohen always has to check when he's getting married. And according to Rabbanan, you don't have to. But if there was an error against this yichus of this woman, so then you do have to check whatever it says, 8, 12, 16.
Otherwise, it would be another 8. The Rabbi Meir would say if there's no errors, 8's enough. Right, Mishnah.
Well, Meir says if
Well,
there's no
that's-
error, you check 8.
Abish
And,
is Ishmael.
and if it's Levi of Israelis, then it's 12 or 16.
Okay.
And Rabbanan say you don't have to check anything, only if there's an error. If there's an error, then you do the whole Seder that you did. The Mishnah said, that once you found somebody in the Yichus that worked on the Mizbech, you don't have to go above it to check his appearance anymore because he was already checked out.
Ah.
And the more explains, my timer, let's shrink it a little bit. First white line, he loved the Batur, love masculine. If not that they checked him out, they wouldn't have him up. The word masculine means to bring him up. They wouldn't have brought him out to let him go up to the Mizbech if they wouldn't have checked him out. Also from the Levim. Also from the Levim, if he sang on the Duchan, you don't have to check further. My timer, also because they checked out the Levim on the Duchan. This statement is quoting that they used to, in the Sanhedrin, they used to check out the Yichus of the Kohen and of the Levim. So it means that they wouldn't have let somebody work on the sing on the Duchan if he wasn't checked out. That goes to the sugya about Malin Minat Duchan. There's such a sugya, I think, for the Yuchsin. So this opinion holds that they wouldn't have let him sing on the Mizbeach if he would not have been Miyuchas already.
That means
Oh.
they were already,
They already checked out.
when they sat there, what is this? How you should,
It's saying Lishkas HaGazis. That Lishkas HaGazis, that's what they used to do over there. They used to check out the Yechusim of Kohanim and of Levim. It's the middle of a sentence. So Shama Yosh, when we don't have the beginning of the sentence, I think it's talking about Lishkas HaGazis. Does Rashi tell us anything about that? The Lishkas HaGazis, how Yosh from Sanhedrin. Over there it says they say the Hayom, what they used to do. So it says, it's telling you where Lishkas HaGazis is located, and it says that's what they used to do over there.
Only that?
Other things also, but you're right, that makes a big thing that they used to check the Yichus. Next, Sanhedrin also. If someone's on Sanhedrin, you don't have to check out because he was already checked out. My time at the time of Yosef, Kishem Shebezim Menukim B'Sedek, Kach Menukim Mikol Mon. Just like Bezdin is clean in righteousness, the Sadiqim also they're clean in their mum and their blemishes, and the Gemara thinks that it means the blemish of Yichus. So they already checked out. When someone came to sit on Sanhedrin, they would check out if his Yichus is good.
A lot of requirements by the Sanhedrin.
Here it says they should be Miyuchasim. You're right. The other things also. Amir Amema Mikra. Where's a pasuk that says that they should not be Bali Mumin? Kulach Yafa Rayasi and Mumin Bachashim. We're both talking about how beautiful the Kala is, Am Yisrael, and the Gemara says that Rashi is referring to the beauty of the Sanhedrin that they don't have any Mumin. But the Gemara says Ema Mumin Mamash. Maybe that means actual physical blemish. How says it's talking about the Mumin of Yichus? Amir Bacha Bayakov, you're right, and that's how the Rambam said you're right that there is a problem that you can't have Bali Mumin. If someone will be on Sanhedrin, you have to be checked that he shouldn't have any physical blemish. But there's another pasuk.
Why is that? I thought we were
Mumin,
talking about
no.
Kohanim. Mumin. Serving in the base.
We're talking about Sanhedrin.
What's the Mumin?
That's what it says, that the Sanhedrin should be Miyuchasim.
Okay.
And now the Gemara says,
That's the operation. If we had operation, is what checked out because he thought he might be on some head and he wanted one game more.
Wow.
and that's this Gemara. And the Gemara says,
I never heard this. Thank you.
the Gemara says that the pasuk here doesn't show anything about a mum yuchsin. Maybe it just means that it shouldn't be about mum mamish. Who says there's such a problem of yuchsin? Am Ravacha B'Yakov, Am Akra, V'Syasfu Sham Imach. If that talks about Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu that you should take as a kingdom and they should be with you. With you. They have to be similar with you, that they should be
It's like you
yuchsin.
don't have any mum, they shouldn't have any.
And what does mum mean? Yuchsin. The fact that it says mum ain't blocked from the not that he shouldn't have a mum mamish. And the Rambam says that they shouldn't have an actual blemish. And this pasuk of V'Syasfu Sham Imach is going to say that they should be yuchsin. But the Moshe, maybe that case of Moshe Rabbeinu was special, but then Mishum Shechina over there, that it was talking about that the Shekhinah is going to rest upon them. Maybe the 70 that Moshe Rabbeinu appointed, maybe that was special. Only they should be miyuchasim. But maybe regular Sanhedrin is not restricted to have mumim miyuchasim. But it's talking about not Moshe Rabbeinu's bezdin. Over there it's talking about Sanhedrin. Over there it's talking about what Yisro told Moshe Rabbeinu should make many Sanhedrin, maybe many Batei. So over there you see that also they have to be miyuchasim. It comes out here. The Gemara is only talking about the Gemara is for Sanhedrin. If it will be a plain bezdin of 3, whatever, it says you don't have to have miyuchasim. A little bit by Yisro, it is talking about all kind of levels over there. Sorry, also. But here it says that that all of the appointees, even the Soros, had to be miyuchasim.
A stutter was
23.
What?
a stutter wasn't a mum.
Which thing?
A stutter wasn't a mum.
A stutter is a stutter considered a mum.
There's a question on Moshe.
Even only the
Divorce.
moment of the Kohanim.
What kind of mum?
What kind of mum? I mean, they applied to the same moment for the Sanhedrin with the same moment of the
Of
Kohanim.
the Kohanim, probably. And there's also such mum of stuttering by
Moshe
Kohanim.
Rabbeinu was some kind of shiloh on Moshe Rabbeinu.
That's what he's asking.
But you don't find that there's such a mum. It's not called a blemish as far as the Kohanim. You want to say something?
It's only about the 23.
23 or 70,
Thank you very much.
71.
It says Sanhedrin and L'chora means 23 also. Why do I think so?
Because it's a small sentence.
Rashi says not like that. What did I say in Rashi?
No, it actually said one way.
Only not the 23?
Oh, he says, "Ubesanhedrin koamar oy gedola oy ktana, aber dayan ba'alma loy."
So
23 is a
Right,
Sanhedrin.
23
it is required. No movement, right? No
so
punishment.
Sanhedrin doesn't only mean Sanhedrin of Gedolah, it means even Sanhedrin of 23. And that's pointed out that maybe in the Gemara's Rosh, especially even by during Yisrael, they had Soria Soros also Sanhedrin also.
Rashi is so.
Maybe Soria Soros, I'm not sure.
Hmm.
That's also called Sanhedrin of some. We don't have it anymore. We only have the 3, 23, or 71. But maybe in times of Yisrael, that the Bati Dinu that Moshe Rabbeinu made, maybe the 10 also. Sorry, Meir, sorry, Chamishim, sorry, Soros, they also have to be, maybe. Okay, let's look at it now. The Gemara continues. Kol mi shehuchzeku, we are holding avosa b'shotri harabim, was also not necessary to check further. The name of the Loma Kmina Psulim, he meant to say, so Rashi says shotri harabim based on this Gemara means dayanim. Regular 3, the dayan of 3. Are you not allowed to make a dayan that's not a meyuchas? You're a minu. Bryce says, Mishnah, everyone's kosher to judge monetary laws, but not everybody's kosher to judge death penalty. We ask on that Mishnah, what is the word akol? Everyone's kosher. Even a mamzer is kosher to be a dayan. So you don't have to be miyuchas. So how could you just rely just because he was a dayan that he's kosher? A dayan doesn't have to be kosher. You're right. In general, you don't have to, but in Yerushalayim, they'll mark in Yerushalayim only to take the Yonim, even the Yonim of 3. They'll mark not to take the Yonim that Nam Yuchasim. So even though it's not a lachik, but the Maisa, that was the custom, so you can rely on it. The Kiddushin of the Levi, Yerushalayim. Kiddushin of the Levi, they say it means in the Mesechus Kiddushin of that Levi wrote. Levi wrote also the Sefta Mesechus Kiddushin, they got together. So in that, he put in the word Yerushalayim. Shotrei Rabim Yerushalayim. So you see a Chiddush, even though there's no halacha that they have to be miyuchasim, but if that was the custom that they were marked on it, was also good enough. Very similar to the next Mishnah of like Gabbai Tzedakah, and is that true? Not the next, not Gabbai Tzedakah. The next one coming up, Aseratia, right? Eric Yosipori, right? The Gabbai Tzedakah also. So that was a question. No such halacha that the Gabbai Tzedakah have to be miyuchasim. My time. Minsuba Inchi, Damamam, Namashkin Mal Tzedakah, Feel Bear Shabbos, and Misadika is like nothing with halacha here is because people they don't like the Gabbai Tzedakah because they now Gabbai Tzedakah nowadays everyone likes because they're not going to do it. They say the Shabbos, you want to give, you don't want to give. But in the olden days they didn't do that. They said you have to give, and they assessed how much he's worth, and he has to pay tax. And they, so then people didn't like them because they had to fight with people sometimes if they didn't get stuck, they would take a mashkin, they would come to the house and take away his. So people and even their Shabbos people are busy. Also, they used to take away. So if people, if there'd be
Take
anything,
away the children, that's it.
if they,
Oh, boy.
if there'd be anything to talk about, then people would make noise. So a Gabbai Stuck has a clean record, or else they know about it. Not that he has to be, doesn't, but they would know. People would know about it. They find out. They look into his records in order to make noise.
I thought that he shouldn't steal the money. That he should be an honest guy.
Yeah, but we're not talking about
We're talking about yichus. He could be, he could be a mamzer who's very honest.
Oh,
But they made sure that if he be a mamzer, people will know about it, because sometimes someone called him a mamzer because he took
that's a good.
So if you don't know anything about it, it's all right that nobody's nothing to say. Story. New story. The innkeeper of Ravada Barava was a ger. There was a machlokus between the host, the innkeeper, and Rabbi Boy. What was the machlokus between them? There was some position in the city that was up for what's the word? Election. Bid. So there was the ger that wanted to take that position, and Rabbi wanted to take the position. Asla Kamed Rav Yosef to ask who should it be? Amalahu, that the ger should not have a public position. Tanina, Som Tasam Allah Melech. It says you should make a king from amongst your brothers, and not only a king. Any public position has to be from Jewish born. So he said that the ger can't take the position of the authority. Amalei Ravada Barava. So Ravada Barava, he was in that inn. He was his innkeeper. So he said, I have something to say for my innkeeper. Petitioning for his innkeeper. But he didn't change anything. He just pointed out. Imam Yisrael. Even if his mother is Jewish, means his father's a ger, but his mother was Jewish. So is that such a restriction also on this generation whose mother is a Jew? Amalei, no, that's fine. If the mother is Jewish, so then he is called Karabachacha, he can have a position. He'll talk about the Gabi Rabba who La'ayin b'mila d'shmaya, but Ma La'ayin b'mila d'masa. Rav Yosef, I think Rav Yosef said, so therefore both of you should have public positions. And there was the spiritual aspect and the physical aspect. So he said, Rav Eber is Talmud Chacham, Gabi Rabba, big man Talmud Chacham. He should be in charge of the spiritual issues of the city, and the innkeeper should be in charge of the other issues of the city. Okay, so
it's interesting.
Yeah,
I thought only like a type of position that has rulership. He wants to be, let's say, in charge of
every position has authority
a Gabe basic council can't be a ger
because he has authority. Who would give aliyah to him?
I thought it's more a big authority.
That's
It's a pretty minor authority.
That's why Rashi gives the example. Who would give aliyah to? That's also called an authority.
Oh, wow. Even less.
A teacher.
You see, Rashi means all the examples.
Those are the physical cases. It's physical and spiritual, but even small things that's considered an authority.
A teacher, you can't be a teacher.
Is a teacher called an authority?
What they have they could say who goes to recess, who doesn't go to recess.
Teachers didn't have no authority.
The kids,
They could punish them. I don't know.
no, they can't. Are you kidding me?
Right, they could suspend them from school a day or whatever.
Oh yeah. You could use them. And then the mother
You can give him extra
Oh,
homework.
yeah.
You can give him
Yeah.
extra homework.
Yeah.
Yeah, which he's not going to do.
You wouldn't do it.
It's, okay. The Gemara throws in something. So what happened over here? Rabbi, he took care of his innkeeper. He petitioned for his innkeeper. So Rabbi said it's a good thing. If you want to get somebody to be in your inn, get somebody like Rabbi. If somebody's going to host somebody to be in his inn, take somebody that's like Rabbi Barava that he knows how to petition for you.
What was the problem with the innkeeper that he needed?
He wanted to get this position, and Rabbi Barava helped him out.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do anything wrong. It's not a question like he was helping him out. He had a time to tell the president, tell the Rav, and he was successful.
He was considered a Gura. His mother was Jewish.
Oh,
But since the father's a ger, so he's still considered a ger.
that was the problem. The problem was
And the Gemara said, yeah, you're right. That's considered a chiddush because the yichus is who started the yichus. The father started the yichus. The ger started the yichus. So all the generations are called Gabriel. That's where yichus goes back to, not to Shevet Reuben, Shevet Shimon, Shevet Levi. and
What's the
the innkeeper, or innkeep, or the kid, or the inn.
English?
Rabbi Zera Matapabu. Rabbi Zera would try to help the Gerim to get positions. I think it's going on. Yeah, it's going on. It's going on. Oh, so going on. I think the Gemara is going now on a Ger who is Imam Yisrael. So it says that you're allowed to give them a public position. Rabbi Zera, that would help them. Rabbi Zera would help the people, the Gerim, Imam Yisrael, to get public positions. Rabbi Baravua also Matapabu. But when Marabba, feel Reish Kuri, Lo Mukmi Minayu. In Eretz Yisrael, they were allowed, but even to give a small position, they wouldn't give to Yichus of a Ger, even if his mother was from Yisrael. Reish Kuri is something to do with what did Rashi
The
say?
measurements, he's in charge of the measurements.
How do you have the word about Kuri? What's the
Kor.
word? A core. When Ada Filu Reish Gargus, and Ada they're marked on more, even something about water, dividing of the water, something like that. Also they are marked. So that but then it's mutter. A ger is mashma shouldn't get any public position of authority. If Imam Yisrael it's mutter, and someone marked on that also. The Gemara continues. What's that about the Erki Shel Sipori? My time at Daiki Machtami, they were particular just to sign somebody who had yichus. That was their own idea. So since that's the custom, you better rely on it. Rab Chanina ben Antigna said even in the Starat Shamelach, what's that? Amr Rav Yehuda, Amr Shmuel, B'chayel Shel Beis David. From the army of David, they were only yuchasim. They don't have to, but they were makbid. The more is going to say soon why they were makbid. Amr Rav Yosef, my kra, where are we holding? Where's the pasuk that says they only took yuchasim? This yachsam b'atzava b'milchama. A pasuk in Divrei Hayamim. Maybe we can find it over here. You got it tonight. That's a long pasuk. Kalela, one pasuk.
That's it.
One big pasuk.
What is it, Neasher?
Neasher, Rashi, Beis Habos, Purim, Giborei Chayolim, Rashi Anasiyim, this yachsam b'atzava b'milchama, Misparam Anashim, Esrim v'shisha Aleph. That's the pasuk. That's talking about the Yichus of Bnei Yosher, and it says that they will be Borei Chayolim and his Yachsam Batzava B'Milchama. So the Gemara takes it to mean that they checked out the Yichus. So you see that it doesn't say there about Milchama's Beis David, but it says that this something about Milchama and Yichus. What?
Interesting. No, that's the Pasuk Shan, the Pasuk also, right?
That's the Pasuk Shan.
Yachsam
His Yachsam Batzava B'Milchama.
That's right.
That they made sure they should have a good Yichus. I don't know. Okay. What else happened?
Time of life.
Time my. How come the makbet have yuchas? What does that have to do with war? Good question. Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Rav, Kadesh Teis Chosavosa, Schusan, Chosavosa Mesayatan. We want to have Schosavos in the battle. They want schuyot, not enough to be strong, but also Schosavos. But he could sell a kamoni. What's Kabbalah Kashas? You find that some of those Giborim were not from Yichus. Sell a kamoni. Sounds like an ammoni. That's even worse. That's a Germoni. Ammon's worse. My love doesn't mean that it's from Yichus from Ammon. No, the Yasavah. This means that's where he lived, but it doesn't mean that that's his Yichus. My love doesn't meches. Also, his Yichus was from Chiti. No, the Yasavah. He lived over there, but not that he was from their lineage. From Gas. The Yasavah. That means they lived in Gas. What I do? Rav Nachman over there, someone that you have to have in order. A Jew cannot be Batla, but a Goy can. So this is even more. Not only was a Goy, he wasn't even a Goy, he was a Goy. He never was Megayah, and he's able to Batla Avodah. So David had in his army a Goy. It says a long story about 400 children David had. In David, it says the Bnei Pastor. So the words might sound like David himself had relations with 400. Got 400 children of Bnei Pastor. Rashi says it doesn't mean that he personally. It means in his army there were 400 children that were Bnei Pastor, that men had relations with the Pastor, and all of them would take a haircut like the Goyim did. Which talks about they cut the front of the head, not the back. It looked like over there by the Zohar. I'm not sure. They got them glorious. They had some kind of a ponytail, which also was something to do with the minhag of the Zohar. What does that mean? They were Goyim.
Even nowadays.
Even nowadays, also they have these customs. They shave hard
bald
and
in front and back,
they
then
leave
go
the
forward.
so it's not much this thing.
Wow.
For Kulam Yoshim Mikroni tells of they would sit in wagons of gold. They go in front of the army. They were the strong warriors of David. So it sounds like Imam took these goyim. They were goyim because they're goyim. B'nai Yifas Torah, so they're goyim. The mother was a goyim. I guess it means that they had relations before she's Megaya. After she's Megaya. But it could be that they had relations before she was Megaya, which is a focus, I think, if it's mutter for about Yifas Torah. And they were the ones that went in the army of David. So you see that he did take such goyim in his army. The answer is the Azli Lehusei Alma. They just went Alma. They just went to scare people. They didn't actually fight. They just came and they looked like such maybe their ponytail helped that they looked like fierce, and that they scared the enemy, but they didn't actually fight. The fighters only were the people that had yields.
But Ita was considered one of his great warriors. So...
Right. So that's a kasha. There means the kasha on. That's a kasha. I don't have an answer. I wrote the kasha also. That this is only good for the B'nai Yifas Torah, but Ita Agiti, he says he was a goy, and the Gemara does call him one of the warriors, the pasuk. So what do you do with that?
One has two kashas, in other words.
It only answers the second one. The first kasha the Gemara didn't answer because you can't say he just went to scare. He already went to fight. Is a move that he fought?
I think there's I can give specific story.
No, someone took it away. Oh, that one.
Yeah, it's
Right,
right here.
it might be in Video.
This one helps you.
Yes.
You can look it up on the computer also. He's saying
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh.
Amen.
yeah, they seem. I have here Shmuel. I don't have Divrei Yamin, but the Psukim Mamish talk about Itai. He was the head of one of the three legions.
That's a big deal.
Well, yeah, it doesn't mean he didn't just go. He didn't just go to scare.
I think there's verbiage between him and David.
What?
There's some communication.
They're talking. Yeah, they're talking. Here it is. They're talking. Yeah, this is in Perek Tes Vav. It looks like Shmuel Bay's Perek Tes Vav.
Maybe in Divrei Hayam has a yud.
Oh, I should put it. I'll try that. You remember that something in Divrei Yamin?
No. Just.
I remember that he gives a list of all his words and he gives the stories that things that each of them did. Someone there would be a shot, like example of something that each did.
Thank you, everybody.
Regarding, I have a brother who lives a ger, and he's a Rosh Krill and a